As you saw in the video to start the show, Tom Brady announced this morning on social media he is retiring after 23 dominant, unprecedented, glorious years in the National Football League. For good. Tom Brady is the greatest to ever play the game. In fact, I'll take you a step further. Tom Brady is your GOAT's GOAT. Tom Brady has the most decorated resume in the history of sports. And I live for Michael Jordan. I live for Wayne Gretzky, for Serena, for Jack, for Tiger. There is nobody in the history of sports who accomplished more than Tom Brady. Look at the wins. Look at the Super Bowl MVPs. He won 7 Super Bowls. I mean, this guy is next level in terms of resume, accomplishments, domination, and I'll always remember the victories in the fourth quarter. I'll always remember the comebacks. Tom Brady, down by 4. Okay, he'll drive you down the field and lead the team, lead the Patriots, lead the Buccaneers to a game-winning touchdown. You have Tom Brady in the postseason getting it done. You have Tom Brady, tie game, fourth quarter, in the playoffs, ho-hum, find a way to put Adam Vinatieri or Stephen Gostkowski in field goal position to win the game. That's who he is. That's what he does. And you think about what he was able to accomplish in the postseason. I mean, this guy is ridiculous. What he was able to do in the regular season, these are numbers that will never, ever, ever be duplicated. And it was only, yesterday, we talked about Tom Brady as the Niners quarterback. We talked about Tom Brady all season, the fact that he can go and rejoin his old friend Josh McDaniel, and he could go play Vegas like a lot of entertainers do in the twilight of his career. But look, Tom Brady obviously didn't play at a GOAT level this past season in Tampa. He was really good. He wasn't necessarily great or GOAT worthy. I think we all should have paid attention to Tom, and we talked about it in real time on Time to Shine, that Tom Brady was going to play until he was 45. Last year never felt like goodbye. Never felt like retirement. It was, will he, won't he, reports that jumped the gun. He wanted to control the narrative. The press release announcing his retirement 365 days ago was sloppy. It wasn't Tom Brady-esque. I know you saw the video. He means it. He's had a lot going on, public divorce, family. Remember in August, he took 2 weeks off from training camp. He thanked the reporters at the end of the season. Everything was there in terms of the signs for Tom Brady. No one in the history of sports will ever have this kind of career. Honestly, I'm sad. I'm emotional. We've chronicled it all. 6th-round pick out of Michigan. Mo Lewis hits Drew Bledsoe, and the rest is literally history. Thank you, Tom Brady, for being the GOAT's GOAT. So with Tom Brady retiring, all of a sudden, the market for Aaron Rodgers is at a fevered pitch. Aaron Rodgers speaking with Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk, and the boys on their YouTube show didn't seem too happy that there have been conversations about his future that didn't involve him. And I think now that Tom Brady is calling it a career, you're going to see some of those teams that we link Tom Brady to, where they're thinking about saving jobs or thinking about championships. All of a sudden, the market for Aaron Rodgers is going to go to a fevered pitch. By the way, Rodgers was never going to retire. If you think he's sharing a day in Canton with Tom Brady, there's no chance that happened. So there's no way Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. Thought that anyway, but now with the news of the day, there's no chance Aaron Rodgers retires. We said yesterday that the San Francisco 49ers needed to either sign Tom Brady or trade for Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers grew up in the Bay Area like Tom Brady. And I know that Kyle Shanahan picked up the phone. Adam Schefter broke that story on draft night in 2001. And I know he would win a Super Bowl with this roster and these offensive weapons and Kyle Shanahan and He won 2 MVPs from Matt LaFleur, and obviously LaFleur is from the Shanahan tree. I also think that while, you look at the Niners, and obviously they could win a Super Bowl with Rodgers, I don't know if Green Bay is going to want to trade him at the end of the day in the conference. So how about the Raiders? Another team that was linked to Tom Brady. Could you imagine Josh McDaniels reuniting Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers? I actually think the Raiders and Rodgers now make a ton of sense because Rodgers would be happy. Adams would be happy. Mark Davis wants the buzz. Josh McDaniels needs to save his job. So basically, the moral of the story is Tom Brady screwing the Jets one more time. Because now the Jets have some real competition. They hired Nathaniel Hackett, and everyone, including me, said, hey, Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. And that still might happen. And Aaron Rodgers to the Jets would equal a Super Bowl kind of run for Gang Green. I firmly believe that. But if the Raiders are in the mix, I think Rodgers would rather go to the Raiders and be reunited with Davante Adams and be in position to thrive on offense with Josh McDaniels. I think he'd be a rock star in Vegas. And I also think that Rodgers can push San Francisco. And I understand he doesn't have a no-trade clause, but Aaron can speak his mind brilliantly. And if he tells the Packers it's either 49ers or bust, look, they're going to have to trade him to San Francisco. So Aaron Rodgers today, and I'm obsessed with Aaron, and I think that he's the most talented quarterback in the history of the NFL. Aaron Rodgers really gained some unbelievable leverage today. And I think all of a sudden, look, if you ask me, were the Jets going to give up 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers, who's 39 years old, do $59 million? No chance. Not going to happen. You know who might give up 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers? The Vegas Raiders. Because nobody gives a damn, and it would just be an amazing deal, and everybody involved is desperate. So one more time, Tom Brady could find a way to stick it to the Jets, who he owned forever in the AFC East. Buckle up for the winter of Aaron Rodgers. And with the news of the day, this just took on a whole new meaning. Some gigantic franchise-changing news in Denver. Sean Payton is coming to town, and this is absolutely positively glorious. Sean Payton changes everything for the Denver Broncos. She's going to pay him $20 million a year, give up a first-round pick this year, give up a second-round pick next year. Sean Payton is worth every single penny. Sean Payton is worth every single draft pick. Sean Payton is a Hall of Famer. Sean Payton is a quarterback guru, an offensive guru. Sean Payton is a culture changer. Sean Payton is everything for the Denver Broncos. And look, this gives Russell Wilson a chance to save his career. And I think that Sean Payton's going to coach up Russell Wilson. And I think that he's going to get the most out of Russ. And if Russ is in fact cooked, then he's going to throw him the hell out of the kitchen. The other thing with regards to Russ, last year, it was Nathaniel Hackett at his press conference when Russell was introduced as a member of the Broncos. Whatever Russ wants, Russ gets. Not anymore. There's a new sheriff in town. And Sean Payton's going to take these weapons with a great defense, and he's going to kick derriere, and he's going to take names, and he's going to win. There are great offensive weapons on the Denver Broncos. They have an excellent defense. And I want to stress what I said before about changing a culture. Look, I don't want to hear about Sean Payton only winning 1 Super Bowl. Remember what happened on Championship Sunday years ago when they didn't call pass interference in the Rams game? Remember what happened with the Minneapolis Miracle? Remember what happened with the Cook fumble against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers the year that Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl? And if it sounds like I'm making excuses for Sean Payton, just pay attention. Do you remember what the Saints were before Sean Payton? I mean, remember Aaron Brooks? Remember you had Jim Haslett? Remember you had fans in the stands with paper bags over their head? The Saints were the Aints? Does anybody remember that? Sean Payton, don't tell me about Bountygate. Sean Payton is a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer. And please, whatever you do, don't spin it. They wanted DeMeco Ryans. Don't spin it. They wanted Jim Harbaugh. If they would have hired him 3 weeks ago, this would have been celebrated. If things were put out in the press to make sure Sean Payton picked the Broncos. This is an unbelievable hire. I mean, you had Vance Joseph, Vic Fangio, Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, that's the here come the clowns approach to, taking flyers and awful head coaches and assistants that never panned out as head coaches in the NFL. Sean Payton changes everything for the Broncos. Listen, I think he's going to maximize Russ. I think they could make the playoffs this year. And if it doesn't work, they're going to kick Russell out and they'll find a new quarterback. What a phenomenal time to be a fan of the Denver Broncos. Welcome back, Time to Shine. Absolutely thrilled to be joined in studio by my guy, the great Trent Green. Trent, it's great to see you.
It's great to be in here. How about it? You got a great setup here. I love it.
I mean, this is awesome. I mean, we've had you, of course, on the show before, but first time in studio. Listen, the Time to Shine budget is amazing. Tom Brady retires, so we fly in Trent Green, and why not? And listen, your reaction to the news.
I think the first go-round a year ago, I was kind of thrown off by it because I thought he was going to play a while. Because of the way he handled the season, because of the emotional goodbyes that he had at the end, because of the video of him walking off the field for the last time, finding his parents by the tunnel, giving him a kiss as he goes to the locker room, that's not the Tom Brady So I thought there was something a little bit more serious about the fact that this was going to be his last one. So I wasn't overly surprised just because of those things we saw in the last game and some of his comments that he had over the last couple weeks here. So it doesn't surprise me, and what a phenomenal career.
How do you put it into perspective, Trent?
You can't really, because if you compare him to anybody else in the history of the sport, and you and I have talked about this, right? I mean, I was a fan way before I was a player, played for a long time, then now in broadcasting. So I've been around the NFL either as a fan, a player, or a broadcaster my entire life, and there's nobody that you can compare him to. I mean, first off, the story of where he got drafted, the comments that he made, right after he got drafted to Robert Kraft, saying this is the best draft pick you're ever going to make. It's from all of that to the standpoint that over 100,000 yards passing when you consider regular and postseason play, 7 Super Bowl. I mean, it's just on and on and on what he's been able to accomplish. Whether that'll ever be matched again, it's going to be hard to find anybody that can do that.
I don't think it will be matched in the history of sports. And as you brilliantly point out, we talked about it earlier, the ultimate rags to riches story in terms of didn't come into the league with a silver spoon in his mouth, 6th-round pick, held that chip, and then he's your GOAT's GOAT. I mean, the greatest of all time in every possible way. Let's switch gears to Super Bowl 57.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes. My goodness. I still can't get over what he did, Trent, on Championship Sunday on one ankle. What makes him rise to the occasion all the time when it matters the most?
I think there's a bunch of things that go into that. And I've been thinking about that. I live in Kansas City. I'm around Patrick a lot, and I'm around the organization a lot because I do their preseason games now for the last 12 years, 13 years. And so just being around it, I think a lot of it goes back to the fact of growing up in a locker room with his dad being a major league pitcher, him being in the locker room, seeing how guys work, seeing how they train, seeing how they interact. I think at a young age that has a big impact on you. I think that carries you through. I don't think the moment's ever been too big for him. Texas Tech wasn't the biggest stage. I mean, it's big time D1. I mean, it's big stage. You put up big numbers, those kinds of things. But the way he's been able to carry it into the NFL, I like the fact that he sat his first year behind Alex Smith, a guy that had been through the ups and downs, been a number 1 overall pick, went through some injuries, got traded, different environment. I think that helped him a lot. I think being around Andy Reid and learning, and then the fact that when he gets out there, he's just fearless. I mean, he really doesn't have any fear when he gets out there and plays. And, the very first year he's a starter, he wins league MVP. Every year he's been a starter. He's been in the AFC Championship game, and 3 of those 5 he won. I just don't think the moment's too big for him. And I just think at 27 years old, you get more and more comfortable with it. and he is very comfortable in the role that he has.
Such a brilliant way to phrase it. Now, for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts is healthy now, and he is playing great. Does he need to do more? And when I say that, does he need to throw the ball with more authority in the Super Bowl to not compete with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
I think it's going to go one of two ways. I think it's either got to be they're going to control the game. They're going to control the clock, what they've done all year, time of possession, running the football, mix the run with him and other ways that they are effective, because they have the best offensive line in football. So if they're able to do that and run the offense that they've run all year, then I think that it's going to go kind of the way or the pace that the Eagles want it to go. If all of a sudden they have an early turnover, boom, boom, now they're down 14-0, 17-0, 21-3, whatever it may be, they get into that type of game, then it's going to have to change the landscape of the game and how you want to play it, because you're going to have to play catch up at that point in time, knowing that you can't slow down Patrick Mahomes in that offense. So depending on how the Philly defense does slowing down Patrick Mahomes in the offense, depending on how their run game's going in that offensive line, dominating the Chiefs defensive line, if that's all going the way they want, I see them playing their normal style. If it goes the other way where they're playing catch up, they're going to have to switch up styles.
I want to get your take on other big news around the NFL. Of course, Sean Payton going to the Denver Broncos. And, you know, the impact and the smile is great. The laugh is great. Your reaction to the hire and the impact on Russell Wilson.
Well, it just tells you that the group's not messing around, right? The Walton Penner group is not messing around. They spend all the money for a reason. And they understand the trade was made for Russell Wilson before they took over as the ownership group. They know they don't have many draft picks. They know they don't have a lot of cap space to use. So what's the next thing? What's the way they can improve the football team? Obviously, the decision was made to move on from Nathaniel Hackett. The guy to go out and get that could potentially be the guy to come in and fix it, and what they're hoping is going to be the guy to fix it, is Sean Payton.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.